Welcome, guys, back to the Grateful Living podcast. Today, I'm thankful to have DJ Art Beatz with me. DJ Art Beatz is a Massachusetts based DJ, remix artist, and producer. His most notable collaborations include co producing the hit song Goodbye by Jason Derulo and David Guetta, featuring Nicki Minaj and Willy William, and Cobra Dance, featuring Fatman Scoop and Camel Shake. Art Beatz, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate
Of,
it.
of course, thankful to have you on. So, take us back to the beginning. Set the scene for everyone. Where you grew up, what
Yeah,
your family situation was like, and what type of kid you were.
yeah. I grew up in Baghdad, Iraq. Actually, I was born there till I was 13 years old, and then I came to Worcester, Massachusetts, and started DJing a little bit, making music, playing the keyboard, piano. I learned from my brother when I was young. Yeah, so a little bit of production, then DJing, and then back to production, and then more DJing, and then now it's both. You know what I'm saying? So now I do a lot of production for a lot of artists worldwide, and collaborations, and do a lot of ghost production for artists as well, and DJing too.
Yeah,
That's
that,
what I'm doing. So
that's awesome. So tell us about Iraq and that transition. The first 12 years being there. Um, how was that like?
yeah, I mean, coming from the well, Iraq, Middle East, it's a third world country, so not much freedom, not much you can do out there. So coming to the US was definitely a blessing for me, um, to follow, my dreams and what I want to do. And yeah, that's what I would say the biggest difference, from coming from a third world country. You don't have the opportunities like you do, in the US or Europe per se. Um, yeah, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah. Do you feel
Big change
like
for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like from the Western world, is there any misconception of how we look at Iraq and things of that nature, or anything that you would like to speak on, being from there?
Yeah, I mean that's a tough question. I mean, it's a detailed question I got to get into, but in general, yeah. If you don't go there, you're not gonna know, much about the culture and how people are living. The poverty and all of that. So it's definitely a lot to talk about. If you have specific questions, I can answer. But I mean, alone, just the third world country, the way you live out there is very, very different than here. And the biggest thing I would say is having the freedom to do things. I don't know. I mean, in Iraq, it's like a dictatorship type of country. Um, that's the biggest difference that I saw for me. And other than that, it's just, of course, the language barrier, the culture is different when coming to the Western world. Yeah, those are the top things I would say that I saw, when
Yeah,
I
yeah.
moved out here.
And feel free to not answer any questions I asked, but do you still have family there, and have they
Yeah,
been affected by the war?
yeah, I do have some family still there. I have cousins and uncles still out there. Yeah, but most of us did move out. I have people all over the U.S. I have cousins even in Germany. I have cousins in Australia. So we kind of went everywhere.
Yeah. Have you lost anyone specifically to with the US being there since '03?
Uh, Not really. No,
Mm.
I've lost. I mean, not close friends, but friends of friends that I know.
Y- Yeah.
But no, not like close members. No.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
So, talk to us about, especially given what you do now, your introduction to music and how that all started.
Yeah. Introduction to music. As I said, my oldest brother, used to play the the keyboard, the piano. I learned from him playing by ear, and I started, listening to certain songs that I like and redoing it, redoing the production for it. Um, and then I kept expanding. I kept buying more equipment, built a studio, and then kept connecting with people, just sending my music out to everyone, to A&Rs at record labels and other artists. I collaborated with a lot, locally, and kept going. And certain people that I worked with kind of got involved on record labels and got noticed more. So I kept in touch with them, and more communication here and there, and then I just kept going at it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
So I just try to take every opportunity I can and make it better, and here I am.
Yeah, that's awesome. Not to keep bringing up that issue. One question that came to mind, though, transitioning as an immigrant. Do you have any pieces of advice for anyone that's coming here? Maybe trying to adjust to the American culture and the language and all that. Anything that you look back on? Um,
It's a tough experience, to be honest. When I first moved here, I would say for the first year and a half, it was very hard to adapt to the environment. But I think everyone will experience that. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I think just surrounding yourself with the right people. You don't know what the right people are, anyways.
yeah,
You just have to go with the flow, to be honest. I tried to learn as much as I can. Of course, learn the language first. That was my main thing. And once you learn the language, you understand, you hang out with the people around here, you'll know the culture more, and that's how you get into it. But I don't think there's a right way, to be honest, of doing it.
yeah,
You just have to go there, and everyone, I think, is going to feel that weird, culture shock. You know what I'm saying? Language barrier, of course, at first. So you just have to go with it. To be honest,
yeah,
it sucks, but it's just now. Imagine, you born here going to a third world country and trying to do it that way. I think it will be even harder.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
very good question. I like that question.
yeah, yeah. So, talk to us about what was the stage at which, obviously you went from, you know, I'm like producing music to I'm now going to take this seriously. I'm going to buy equipment. What was Cuz a lot of people don't do that,
Yeah,
because they like the, and there's nothing wrong with it, but they like the stable route of get a corporate job or whatnot and stuff like that. But you had something in you that said, you know, even if it just becomes a hobby or whatever, I'm gonna try and get maybe some equipment and things like that. What was the thing that made you buy your first piece of equipment or watch your first YouTube video on how to DJ?
yeah, very good question. I would say just passion. Being passionate about music in general. I just love music. Um, And for DJing, I just love making people happy when I DJ. I love seeing people happy, dancing, vibing, and bringing my own touch to the music. Um, that kept me going. As far as business wise, it was very hard to break into this business, making music. And I'm still working so hard to, move up the ladder. But I still, I have a degree. I have a degree in biotech and chemistry. I went to college. I also worked three jobs at once. I worked in a gas station. I worked in a pizza place while I was doing music. Um, I also worked in pharmaceuticals. Uh, so yeah, I never just did music to make money. Um, it was some as a hobby, but more passion. It's my passion that I always want to follow, and it took me probably, I would say, 8 years until I started making some money. So yeah, so now it's at a point where I have enough projects for my production that's creating some income. So um, and then the DJing, well, not as much now, but hopefully when I just booked some gigs, so this summer I'm gonna be good for now. But yeah, I think it's just the passion that drove me to come to where I am today. It's not the how am I gonna make money? Because if you just think that way, it's not gonna come from your heart, and you're not gonna do something that you love, right?
Yeah.
So I would say, uh, I still had to work and create an income and then invest that into my music.
Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah.
you, I guess, do you have any pieces of advice for someone looking to just start out now?
As far as production or DJing,
Either one. Yeah.
yeah, they're two different things. For production, you gotta, well, both of them you gotta be different. First of all, you gotta come up with something new that's fresh. Well, whatever is hot right now, but doing it your own way, or something brand new that that you think people are gonna love. Um, but I would say for DJing, you just gotta start somewhere, right? Build a crowd. Um, could be at a local bar or whatever. That's how I started, and you go from there. As far as production, you gotta just produce music and collaborate with artists, put out as much as you can, um, and communicate with people. Networking, and just don't stop. And be nice to people, be humble. That will take you a long way.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep going, not thinking about, okay, why this hasn't happened, why you just follow it. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
then eventually something will hit before you know it. So
What was keeping you going through, you know, the 8 years? I think our generation is we've grown up in the social media viral, next day, success.
yeah.
But the reality is for most people, that's not what's gonna happen. What kept you going? I feel like people do things. I mean, maybe they do them for a year and then they stop. What kept you going year 1 to 4?
um Very good question. I always have like a competitive mentality, competitive nature. I don't like to lose, so that's one of them. Like I never stopped because of that. I always said to myself, I don't care. I'm gonna keep going because I saw a little bit of progress and then no progress, and then I think that alone kept me going. But the passion, I think again, the passion was always there, never left me. It's still there. I think that's the driver for me that keeps me just doing what I love. Because when you love doing something, it doesn't feel like it's a job, right? And that that right there just makes me feel good. When you feel good, you just keep going with it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you know what? Like if I wasn't even making enough money now, I'd still work somewhere. I'll still find a job to work somewhere and do this part time. Never stop, because I love it. So that's always been the driver. But I think the competitive mentality that I have always drives me to do better than what I did before. Find the mistakes that I did, my weaknesses, and try to get better at them. Um, Ask questions, try to learn as much as you can, right? In your industry, you probably do the same thing too. The more you look into things and the weaknesses you have, you better yourself, um, the more you'll see progress. Stuff. It will take time, but eventually you'll see something.
Yeah. When it comes to educating yourself in terms of DJing or production, is it just YouTube videos, or how was that process for you?
Mm. For DJing, yeah, I mean, you'll see other talented DJs. I mean, I've seen so many talented DJs that inspires me. To see what they're doing, how are they doing it, how can I do it better? Yeah, that's definitely an advantage for me that I keep doing. Production is the same thing. I listen to songs and why this is a hit song. Why I look into it. You know what I'm saying? Some of them could be a TikTok song because of TikTok it blew up. Some of them could be, just a really good songwriter. Or so yeah, I do look into things and understand the business part of it, and how things, um, you know, become popular. So yeah, you have to continue learning and adapting to what's out there, because it always changes, right? Every 3 to 6 months, I would say there's a new genre in music right now.
Yeah.
So fast with the internet. So yeah, it's very, very, very tough business to be in. Um, but for me, again, it's just I love music, so it will never stop.
Yeah. I guess, you know, um, this past year was a tough year, and um, how was COVID-19 for your business?
For my DJ business, it was terrible.
Yeah.
But for my music business, for my production, it was really good actually, because more artists put out more songs. So that actually helped a lot. So that went up, and then the DJing went down. So overall, it kind of equaled, balanced itself out. Um, it is what it is. It's life. We gotta, um, just go with the flow. And now, thank God, it's opening up again. So hopefully, not another
Yeah.
shutdown.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We talked about this, but like, the formation of my podcast here has a mental health background. Obviously I've lost
Yeah.
someone, and that's why I started this. It's something that you said has been a part of your life. Is there anything that you'd like to um say on that topic?
Yeah. I mean, I have friends in the industry that deal with mental health on a daily basis. I know people who actually died as well, unfortunately.
Oh, sorry
Um,
for that.
yeah, so it's a very delicate subject. A lot of people struggle with it, um, and I think a lot of it is the medication. To be honest, people get on medication that they don't know how to deal with. Doctors put them on something, and then before you know it, they're just addicted to it. They don't know how to get out of it, or they don't have um, the right doctors that helps them taper off these medications. That's from my experience, what I've seen with people that I know, and it's so sad to see people go through this on a daily basis. Um, yeah, I mean, what your experience has been, you can tell me. I mean, I'm pretty sure you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've lost two people that I was close to, and then one I was an acquaintance of. Um, I think the main thing that's really tough is, you know, it's really about how you are by yourself in my experiences, because the person is never showing signs of that when they're with friends, because they're
Yeah,
happy, they're with friends, but then when they're alone, things get a lot more complex, and the anxiety gets bad, and
yeah,
you know
I hear you. There's a lot of different situations. But from your experience with your friends, do you think the medication were part of it too? Like,
yeah,
did
I
there?
mean, yeah, I like, obviously I didn't, obviously, um so two of them I know were taking it. I'm not sure if the third one was taking, he probably was taking something. um but I mean, you're right, it can be as simple as, you know if they forgot to take it, or I mean, it just takes one bad night, and
Yeah,
so it could be, forgetting, or it could have been, bad reactions. I don't know if what was going on with regard to that stuff, but yeah.
yeah. Sorry to hear that, man.
No,
It's
no. Yeah.
a tough situation. We all
Yeah.
go through it. And I feel like it's increasing a little bit,
Yeah.
more than before. And I think the pandemic kind of made it worse.
Yep. 100%.
But we got to try our best, to help out as much as we can, if we
Yeah.
can, you know.
Yeah. I mean, in your industry, Avicii died, what, 3 years ago? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's,
Yep.
and he was, top of the game.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah. Um, but, transitioning, um, do you have any, keys to performing? Have you ever been like for bigger crowds and things like that? I'm sure when you were, you can get nervous and things like that.
Yeah.
Any keys to calming your nerves?
Yeah, it's. I think it comes down to preparation, of where you're gonna get into. But it's a good nervous feeling. It's not like I mean, for me, yeah, in the beginning when I first was DJing, yeah, it was weird feeling. Like, okay, what am I doing? But once you have the right music, you're prepared, it gets easier. And now I actually look for it, like that feeling, like that nervous, good feeling. Um, and yeah, it is different between bigger crowd, of course. But what I find it interesting is the bigger crowd. It's easier to move for some reason. I don't know why. Just to satisfy.
Yeah.
Um, I do like a lot of EDM shows, so yeah, I feel like playing for a bigger crowd for me is easier to move than a smaller crowd.
Yeah.
It is, yeah, nerve wracking a little bit, but right now for me, it's a good feeling. The one show that I did was very nerve wracking for me was at the Mullins Center in UMass Amherst. I remember opening for it was Alesso.
Mm.
Yeah, it was Alesso. There was like 7, 8,000 people. That one was very nerve wracking because it was one of my first uh, big shows that I've done, for a large crowd. But then once I was on stage for like not even like 2 minutes, I was all about it. I was like, oh shit, this feels good.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you first do it, you're out there like, oh shit, this is weird.
Yeah.
You get up there and there's thousands of people in front of you, like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You start thinking. I think once you start overthinking, that's when shit fucking hits. Excuse my language. I can
Yeah.
swear on here. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, then once you feel it out, everything gets better. I love it, to be honest. It's like a rush. It gives me a rush, natural rush. Nothing else. That, especially when you love something, like doing something you love. Like I love music, DJing. Doing that, it just feels so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for me, like I don't do like in the industry. There's so many people that do drugs, they drink. I don't do any of that, to be honest.
Yeah.
And people think I would do that just because I'm in the industry.
Yeah.
But I drink once in a while, 1 or 2 drinks. But
Yeah.
like other than that, I don't really do much. So people always ask me like, "What? You don't want anything?" Like I'm like, no. I was like, just
Yeah.
playing the music. That actually makes me feel good when I see people dancing and happy. So
Yeah. Do you, when you prepare for different sets, do you like base it, you know, based on location and what, where the place like how do you
yeah.
prepare for different sets?
So I don't like prepare a whole set. I prepare like a bunch of crates, which are like folders, genres of music. Um, and depending on the location, of course, if I've never played there, um, which is the hard one, if you never played at a certain venue, you don't know what to expect. That way, I have all these crates ready and try them out. You know what I'm saying? Once I
Mm.
see people paying attention to something, they liking it, I'll stay with that for a little bit. You know what I mean? Then I
Mhm.
give them something that I like, see how they feel. So you kind of have to test it out. But now, when I go to venues that I know, I'll just prepare newer songs with those genres and go with that. So now if I'm opening for a DJ, that's different too, because you can't play, certain songs. You don't want to burn the crowd. I do have a large set list where I can choose songs from. So it's kind of preparing the set, but it's not like, oh, I'm playing this song first and then this. No, it doesn't go like that. For me, it doesn't. I usually say if I'm playing for an hour, I'll have for 2 hours certain song selections, and then go with that based on how the crowd is feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah, good question.
What's the key to collaborating?
Well, having leverage. Having leverage in business is everything. You need to build value, right? If you don't build value in yourself, other people are not going to value you, and other people may not work with you. That's one tip. Tip number 2 is just be a nice person, communicating with the right people, right? And just networking as much as you can. That helps. But again, if you don't have, it's so hard it's easier for me to do certain songs with certain people than other people, right? It's just the way it is. And again, that comes down to value. What's your value in the marketplace, in any business? Like for me, when I did the song, when I co-produced the song with David Guetta and Jason Derulo, if I did not build enough value, the record label was not gonna say, "Oh, okay, Art, you want to take a stab at this?" Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's other art, so I had to build myself up. Work with this artist first, move to this one, move to that one, move to that one. There are certain artists that will give you the chance, but not many, I would say. They could listen to your work, even if it's good, to be honest. Sometimes they don't even take a listen to it because they don't know you. So again, it comes down to networking and building value in the marketplace.
What's the difference between where you were, say, at year 2 and where you are now?
When I was in the beginning and now?
Yeah. What's the
Well,
difference?
it's having more value and having more experience, of course, better at what I'm doing, knowing the business more. So it is a big difference. I thought I was good at the time,
Yeah.
but no, you have to keep going at it. And the biggest difference now is having more connections and having better selection of music that I've made to present to them than before. Quality, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Talk to us about the the face paint or the tattoo, and how that came about.
Well, first of all, I never disclose what it is. It's up to the viewer to to say what it is. But
Yeah.
most people think it's face paint. Some people think it's tattoo. So that's my brand. My name Art Beatz has a connection between the art side of me and the music side of me. So the art side of me, I've always loved art. I used to draw when I was young, paint. So that's my artistic side, my art side, and then my music side is the beats. So that's how I branded myself. How did I come up with this image? I came across a big mouth image online, and at the time, one of my favorite DJs was Dead Mouse, who wears a big, he has like a big mouse on his head. I don't know if you've seen
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But and I was like, this guy is smart. He's branding himself. That's who he is. And then at the time, I was trying to brand myself. I watched a lot of branding videos, and all it talks about is just be who you are, and it's very hard to do, to brand yourself but it all comes down to just being yourself, right? And for me, when I looked at myself, I was like, you know what? I love doing art and I love doing music. So what can I do? How can I combine those both to make my brand, right? So my name came first, and then after that, a couple years later, I came across this image, And I was like, you know what? This screams loud at me, like, something loud. If I can draw it on me or make it a tattoo on me, um, that could be my brand. At first, when I did it, I was like, okay, what am I doing? But then I did see people right away taking notice. Okay, this guy is different. Once I noticed that, I was like, you know what? Let me just do this. I'll go with it, and that's how it came, along.
Yeah. Um, you've talked about it a little bit, things like, getting your reps up and things like that. But is there anything else, for someone starting out, that you would, because obviously they look at you, 100K followers on Insta, you know, collaborating with big names like Jason Derulo, Sammy Adams, things of that nature, and they want to be where you're at. Any other keys to how you've gotten yourself to this point?
Yeah, just believing in yourself. I think that's number one. I think everyone has a gift from God. To be honest, I mean, if you don't believe in God, that's okay. But for me, I believe in God, and I feel like everyone is gifted something. It's up to you to find it, be good at it, and keep working at it. And that should always stay with you. And then once you keep that in your mind and you keep getting better at what you do, eventually you'll reach a point where you see results. And once you see that for the first time, some kind of result, it's gonna make you feel good and we're like, okay, now I'm doing something right. Then you're gonna keep going and keep going, right? So yeah, that I would say is number one. Is believing in yourself and just pushing nonstop,
Yeah.
being confident. And don't be afraid of letdowns, and because you're gonna see more letdowns than you know good results. So like most of it's gonna be, I would say like 90% of the time you're gonna fail, um, but it's okay. I continue to fail with certain things, but I know that when I'm failing, I'm I try to find my way out of it and make myself better of why I failed, right? And then eventually you'll get one win, nine losses, two wins, eight losses, and keep moving up. As long as you keep going forward, that's what matters, right? I
Yeah.
mean, it took me 8 years. Some people could take him 1 year. Some people could take him 20 years. Some people could take forever. But if you keep believing in yourself and love what you do, that's what matters the most, right?
Yeah. And on the flip side, can you talk to us, let the fans know what they can expect from you maybe this year and in the future, what the future of Art Beats is.
Yeah, the future of Art Beats is going to be more branding myself as a DJ. I'm trying to, I've already DJed a lot of countries in the world, but I really want to go global. I want to collaborate with bigger artists. I'm going to be putting out more of my songs featuring other artists. So you'll see a lot more music from me on that. Yeah, just keep going independently. That's what I've been doing. I mean, I've signed certain tracks with labels, but I always just stayed independent myself. And I see, bigger things coming in the future. So hopefully in the next year or two, you'll see me touring more and more.
Yeah. That's awesome. Um Art, we talked about a good amount. Was there anything um you wanted to talk about that we didn't?
Uh, no, I just want to thank you again for reaching out to me. I love, doing these type of interviews because they're meaningful to me and I appreciate that. And keep doing what you're doing, man.
Awesome.
Wish you the
Yeah.
best.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I just before we end, I just want to acknowledge you, man. It's awesome to really get to know you better, and I know your fans will really enjoy, you know, um, hearing this process. And to anybody starting out, whatever journey you are in, you know, Art talked about, it took them 8 years. So be patient in whatever you're doing, and you will see the results. And And I don't know if the places that you DJ to, the people thank you, but thank you for doing that. Because a lot of times people have had a tough work week and they need to just dance it dance it out on a Friday or Saturday night, and people like you provide us with great memories and times.
Thank
For
you,
any
thank you.
Yeah, for anybody that wants to follow you or support you, do you want to just let them know how they can do that?
Yeah, on Instagram at DJR Beats, on Twitter at DJR Beats, on TikTok at DJR Beats. If you still use Facebook, Art Beats Music. Um, yeah, Clubhouse. I just started to at DJR Beats. Um, Snapchat at DJR Beats. Yeah, anywhere just at DJR Beats you'll find me, or just Google me too. You'll find me too.
Cool, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.